Sales are starting, new holiday collections are dropping, and luxury beauty is in full-on temptation mode. It's exciting, but it's also a lot. This time of year, everything looks like a deal until it ends up collecting dust in a drawer. And that's why I created the Luxe Edit. I've tested this month's most hyped luxury beauty launches so you know what exactly is worth your money and what you can leave behind. Let's take the stress out of shopping and find out what is actually worth it this holiday season. Let's get into it. And let's kick things off with the highly anticipated Guerlain holiday collection. This is one of the ones that I'm always the most excited for because Guerlain really nails it with the packaging, with just the overall festive nature every single year. I feel like they're one of the most creative brands when it comes to these seasonal collections. Holiday being one of my favorite every single year. This year, Guerlain actually gifted me the entire collection. So thank you so much, Guerlain. So I have everything to show you here today, all the shades and all the products, so I'm really excited about that. Unfortunately, I mean, you guys know, I'm always gonna be honest with you, I don't care if it's gifted. There are some hits and there are some serious misses here. So I'm gonna go one by one, let you know my thoughts on all of the products in this collection, starting off with the eyeshadow palette. I first wanna show you the packaging on this palette. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think of this packaging? I definitely think that it screams holiday. I think it's beautiful, but I do have to be honest, guys. I don't think that this is completely up to snuff with what I expect from Guerlain. Normally, I don't know, normally they're like a little bit more creative. Do you guys remember like the denim collection, or even, was it last year that they did like the bejeweled cover on these? I feel like they've done more. I feel like they've done better than this, although it is really beautiful. And I think for like the average customer in a department store, this is gonna stand out amongst some of the other collections this year. But putting the packaging aside, let's take a look at the actual palette and the color story. This is definitely a more approachable color story than the one that they did last year. Last year, I feel like the packaging was really great, but the color story was like kind of unapproachable. There was like a bright red and it was a whole thing most of you guys remember. This year they went with a very, what I would call safe color story. So we have like a mid-tone brown, a deeper brown, a gold, and a silver. Definitely very holiday, definitely very commercial. I think this is gonna be a really great wearable color story for most people. Do I think this is a must-have? No. I really don't. If you like luxury beauty, if you are like a collector, if you have a lot of eyeshadow palettes, I really think that this is a skip. For me, I would put this in the luxury letdown category because it just doesn't really bring anything new to the table. And I know that this is a holiday collection, and like a lot of times holiday collections, they do tend to be a little bit more, I hate to say, boring in terms of the color story, but I don't know, Guerlain usually do a good job of making something wearable, but they add a little bit of a creative touch. And I just don't, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it from the palette this year. I'm super disappointed, guys. And on top of that, I don't think that this is the best formula either. Like, I'm tempted to say, oh, if you like these kinds of very wearable color stories, maybe you should pick it up if you don't have any Guerlain eyeshadow palettes. But like, I don't want to say that because I don't think that this is the best formula. It feels kind of dry. I am wearing the palette on my eyes today, and as you can see, you can create a beautiful look. I like the way it looks at the end of the day, but it's not super pigmented. I kind of have to build the colors up. It's sort of dry. There's really nothing luxurious about the formula and the color story to me. So I'm gonna put this in the luxury letdown category. I really don't think that this is a must-have. Next, we have the meteorites. Now, I'm guessing that these have been the best-selling product in the collection, and I'll explain why in just a second. But first off, I'll just let you know the packaging is limited edition. It is the same design that you saw on the eyeshadow palette. And to my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments, friends, because you all know sometimes more than me. To my knowledge, this is the same shade that they have in the permanent collection. It's the shade Cool, which is probably their best-selling shade. I can't tell the difference between this and the Cool meteorites that I already have in my collection. You could see a little side-by-side right there. The colors of the pearls look the same. When I swatch it, it seems to look the same. The scent is the same. Like, everything is the same, guys, okay? The two key differences here are number one, the packaging, and then number two, which you probably already noticed? Some of the little pearls have been shaped into adorable little stars. Come on, that's cute. That's cute, right? Why do I like the stars so much? They should do this normally. They should do like little hearts or other little shapes and stuff. I think that would be so fun. If you've been to any of my Wednesday night live streams, then you will know that we call these the Lucky Charms meteorites because they kind of remind us of Lucky Charms, you know, like the little marshmallows and the little shapes. You guys know. So I've been calling them the Lucky Charms meteorites. The stars are so cute and a very, very clever little addition to these holiday meteorites. But for me, this is still a luxury letdown. It's still a luxury letdown because that is really the only thing going for it. If you don't already have the Guerlain meteorites, then maybe this is a good one to pick up. But hear me out, guys. Like, over time, wouldn't the little stars just get worn down and they're just gonna look like all the other pearls that are in there? I suppose it would take a while for that to be the case, but if you're really using this product, like, they're not gonna look like cute little stars for that much longer. So it is a really cute little collector's piece, but for me, like, there's not enough differentiation here. And like, I don't know, I just feel like they need to do more shades in these. Overall, I'm not super impressed by this product. But wait, it gets worse. It gets worse, guys. Those products, they're not bad. They're just luxury letdowns for me, okay? But what I seriously dislike in this collection, and actually was the product that I was the most excited for, is the highlighter. Now, I do not have any of the highlighters from Guerlain in the permanent line, but my subscribers have told me that those are really beautiful. They're very smooth. They enjoy them. This highlighter is like straight up glitter. It's straight up glitter. I'm so disappointed, guys, because it has this beautiful, hopefully you can see there in the natural light, has this beautiful kind of ombre effect to it. It looks absolutely stunning. I was so excited to receive this, and I'm very grateful to have received these products, but I'm letting you guys know, don't waste your money on this. This is not only a letdown, what would be lower than a letdown? This is like luxury declutter. This emphasizes so much texture. I don't even really have that much texture on my skin, but somehow it has managed to emphasize like every little pore. Who is this for, Guerlain? Like, who asked for this? I don't feel like the Guerlain customer wants to buy super glittery highlighters. Comment down below. Let me know if you like it. I'm not trying to, you know, offend anybody who enjoys this. This is makeup after all, so we can disagree. I was just so disappointed by this. If you don't like super glittery highlighters, if you don't want something that's like chunky glitter, please don't buy this. If you do like chunky glitter and shimmer, then you're really going to like this. However, as I mentioned, there are some hits, there are some bangers in this collection. My favorite products, the ones that I've been using the most, and honestly have been using like literally every day, I had to get these out of my handbag earlier just to review them for you guys. These are the lip oils, and if you watch my channel, then you already know I love the Guerlain lip oils. They are so thick and moisturizing, and because they have a little bit of that like thicker texture because they're infused with honey, they really last on the lips. They look so beautiful. They really do make the lips look plumper, but they don't have any lip plumping ingredients that like burn or sting your lips. Well, for the holiday collection, they came out with two shades. One is like a rosewood tone and one is like a peachy tone. However, they added a beautiful, beautiful shimmer to this formula, which I just absolutely love. And I don't know why they don't do this in the main line. Guerlain, if you're listening, which you probably aren't, but if you're listening, please put these in the main line. I would even buy like other shades that are more pigmented, maybe even more shimmery than the ones that they've done here for the holiday collection. These for me are like top shelf. These are top shelf because I already think that this is the best luxury lip oil formula on the market. But the fact that they also added this shimmer just makes them even more beautiful than the ones in the main line. I'm so disappointed that these are limited edition, so I would snatch these up. However, one thing that I want to mention is that both of the shades they kind of look the same. They don't look that different. I don't think you need to purchase both of them. I tend to go for the rosewood one because it more closely matches the natural tone of my lips, which is like very rosy. So just go with whichever tone kind of speaks more to you. For me, it's the rosewood. Or if you buy multiple, you know, you can kind of like keep them on your desk and in your handbags and use them as a lip balm, which is what I do. Like I have a couple shades. I don't need a couple shades, but I just like to have them there because I don't want to have to chase it down. These are so good, guys. They're really beautiful. And lastly, for this little Guerlain holiday review, there are 2 limited edition lipsticks and of course a limited edition lipstick case. I'll show you the case real quick here. Of course, it's very similar to the Meteorites and the eyeshadow palette. It's really beautiful, but again, it's not my favorite case. It's not my favorite. If you already have some cases, you can check out the lipsticks. They have some ones in the permanent line. I think it's gorgeous. I think it would make a really beautiful gift. It's just not my personal favorite because I feel like once again, I feel like I've seen better from Guerlain, but the limited edition lipsticks I think are gorgeous. They've done both of these in the satin formula, which is one of my favorite satin formulas in the luxury lipstick world. Very hydrating, pigmented, looks really smooth on the lips, decent longevity as well. The first shade is a beautiful red, of course. Guerlain always does a red for the holidays. And this one is called Le Rouge Étoile. And it's kind of like a red velvet red with a little bit of cherry, if that makes sense. It is deep and rich and beautifully glamorous. I think this is such a gorgeous shade for the holidays. If you want something that looks very classic and sophisticated, I really like the tone of this. I like that it's not too light and bright. Sometimes it's hard to find like a deeper red that's not full on like vampy, if that makes sense. So I really like what they did here with this tone. And then the second shade is a beautiful nude, which is what I'm wearing on my lips today. I feel like some of you were probably wondering, what is this beautiful peachy nude? This one is called Le Nude Songe. Hopefully I pronounced that okay. I did have to Google it before filming this video. I try, guys, I try with the French. Once again, this is a gorgeous, everyday, peachy nude. Is it like vastly unique? No, but I find that with Guerlain, like they do a lot of reds and a lot of times they ignore these everyday nudes and they'll come out with them in these like limited edition versions and then they sell out and then it's like, I want to buy a gift for somebody, but that nude wasn't there. So if you are looking to invest in a Guerlain lipstick or if you want to gift somebody a Guerlain lipstick for the holidays, because they do engraving on the Guerlain website, it makes a fantastic gift. I've gifted them to my mom and I put like, Mom, XOXO, or you could put I love you or something like that. Just a little tip. It's not a gift guide, but just a little tip. And if that is the case, I think a color like this makes a lot of sense. So I would put the lipsticks in the luxe worthy category. I don't think it's like, oh my gosh, this is the most unique nude and red that I've ever seen. But if you want to get a Guerlain lipstick, I think that these are 2 really beautiful classic shades. And this is something I can see myself carrying around with me just like in my purse every day, that will go with most of my makeup looks. Oh, and by the way, if you happen to be enjoying this video, please don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. It really helps me out. And if you are new here, maybe consider subscribing to my channel. My name is Sophia and I upload new videos just like this every single week, all about accessible luxury, beauty, and style. Here on my channel, we're kind of obsessed with fancy things, but we don't want to spend thousands of dollars. So I try these products so that you don't have to, and I only recommend the very best of the best to my subscribers. I also film all of my makeup videos in natural light with no filters. So if that sounds interesting to you, hit that subscribe button to join our fam. We would love to have you. I am going to be linking all of these products and all the shades that I mentioned, everything in that description box down below. If you want to support my channel and shop along with me, tapping on the title of the video opens that description box, or you can also click on one of the YouTube shopping buttons on the screen. The Merit Solo eyeshadows. I love these single eyeshadows. They are some of my favorites for just like a really quick, like everyday minimalist look, little one and done. Doesn't crease, lasts all day. Well, if you haven't heard, Merit has blessed us with some new shades of the Solo shadows, and not only new shades, it is a new finish. They are calling these the Merit Solo Shadows Sheen. You know how they did the lip oils, the Shade Slicks, and then I think it was last year they came out with the Shade Slick Sheen, which are the ones that have like a soft shimmer. That's basically what they're doing for the solo shadows, and I think it is absolutely brilliant. I believe there's 5 shades and they gifted me 4 of them, so I have most of them to show you here today, and I think that all of the shades are very beautiful, very on brand for Myrrick. You know, they're more like minimalist, like very elegant if you want to look chic, but you don't have, you know, like 20-30 minutes to do your makeup in the morning. Really, really user friendly. I've noticed that the sheen version, they're like maybe a little bit, just slightly less pigmented than the matte version. They have maybe a slightly creamier touch as well. I've noticed that the matte versions, once I put them on the eye, they dry down a little bit more quickly. So you might need another minute or 2 for these to really set. I've also noticed that the texture of the sheens is just slightly more creamy. So when you apply them to the eye, they do sheer out quite a bit, but not in a patchy way, which I really appreciate. These give you that kind of wash of color that you would get from like a Chanel eyeshadow, but in a very long wearing cream type of format, if that makes sense. Just like a quick little one and done, and then it lasts all day. I've noticed that these aren't quite as pigmented. They're a little bit softer, and when they say sheen, they mean sheen. Like they're not metallic, they're not glittery. You can see right there, it's like a subtle sheen, like the light, you know, hitting and reflecting your skin. It's very skin-like, if that makes sense. You can pair these with the matte ones. Like you could do a matte all over the eye and then go in with one of the sheens and just kind of put that in like the center of the eye. That would be a really beautiful look. I've really enjoyed playing around with these. I think my favorite shade, it's just so hard to say, guys. I like all of them. I think Sartorial is the one that I would recommend the most to my subscribers because a lot of you guys, you like your cool tone neutrals. It's a very classic shade. So if you like those kinds of classic cool tone browns, I think you're gonna like Sartorial. Glossier is the lightest shade. That one, it has the least pigment. I think that that one's good if you just want a little bit of something or if you want to layer it on top of one of the matte solo shadows. But that one's not going to give you like a ton of pigment. I'm just letting you know it is the lightest shade. But yeah, I think that these are beautiful, guys. I'm really excited about them. The shades are beautiful, and I would definitely put these in the Luxe Worthy category. Next up is a product that I've been hearing about for months, and it is finally available in the United States. It was available overseas for a while, but it's finally at Sephora, so I had to give it a try. This is the Givenchy Prism Libre bronzer. And I don't know, when I first saw this bronzer, I got really excited. I thought it looked so cool, so beautiful. You have the 4 different shades, which is very kind of compelling and aesthetically pleasing. However, in the last Sephora sale, I tried out the powder, like the setting powder version of this product, and I really didn't like it. I found it to be very drying, and I think I actually ended up returning that powder. I can't remember, but I really didn't like it. So I was kind of curious to see how would the bronzer perform. I'll start off by saying that the formula is very finely milled, and it definitely has kind of a setting capability. It's going to kind of set your foundation a little bit, and it does last a long time. But because one of the little squares has a bit of shimmer, it's not completely flat and matte, which I definitely appreciate. So I actually like the finish of this. I like the formula better than the setting powder. So I was happy about that right from the beginning. The color is very interesting. I have the lightest shade, and I'm sorry, I can only speak for the lightest shade. I was really curious to see like, how light is this? Is it gonna be super fair skin friendly? How does this compare to other bronzers in my collection that are really good for fair skin? This is a very neutral bronzer, which I know a lot of my subscribers are looking for. And because it has that little cool toned square in the corner, you do get quite a bit of those cool tones. It prevents the bronzer from looking like very warm, very orange, or too peachy. It is very subtle. If you're very fair and you want something really subtle, and I mean, I'm wearing it on my face today, so you can see right here on my face, this might be a really good one to take a look at. However, one thing that I have noticed, one word of caution here is that depending on how you swirl your brush in the compact, you might pick up a little bit too much of that cool tone shade. I've noticed sometimes if I'm not careful, like parts of my cheek will look kind of like ashy, if that makes sense, like kind of muddy. And then I layer blushes on top and I'm like, wait, what's that like patch right there? So if you're going to use this, if you want to try this out, go in with a fluffy brush, you know, like something you would use for like the meteorites, for example, to really get all of those shades. And then it is kind of nice to have half of the pan be sort of matte and cool, because you also can take a little bit of that with your brush, like focusing on the cool tone part, and you can use that to contour your face. So, you know, little bit of girl math there. You're getting 2 products for the price of 1, but I think some people, they might find that to be like a little bit too fussy. I think this is a really nice neutral bronzer for very fair skin tones, but some people might not like, you know, having to be, you know, careful when they use the product. If you want something similar, I did a couple of comparisons here. The Tom Ford Terra bronzer, that one is not as cool toned. It is more pigmented as well. I really like that one. I think that's always a really good go-to, but it's not going to be as subtle as the Givenchy. The Makeup by Mario one is the best option if you want something equally as subtle. It's not a super warm bronzer. It does look a little bit warmer in comparison to the Givenchy, so there's no risk of muddiness there. And by the way, I'm talking about the Mario bronzer in the lightest shade, which I believe is called Fair. And then also I would recommend checking out the NARS Laguna talc-free bronzer in the lightest shade, Laguna 00. This is a very similar tone and similar kind of powdery formula. It does have a bit more pigmentation to it, however. Like this is more buildable if you want to build it up, if you get a little bit of like a tan or something. So those would be the alternatives that I recommend checking out. I definitely, like I feel like I would put this in the Luxe Worthy category. I like it, and I kind of like how multi-purpose it is, but it's not good enough that I would put it like top shelf, like the Tom Ford bronzer. Why did I buy the Makeup by Mario Ethereal Eyes Nature Palette? Why did I buy this? Why did I buy this? Because I didn't like the first one. I didn't like the second one. I thought maybe this would be like a good story, like a good comeback story. Like, oh my gosh, I love this one. Who knew? Haha. No, guys. No. I didn't watch any reviews on this. Maybe people are loving this. Maybe people are hating it. I don't know, but this is always one of the most hyped releases at Sephora in the Sephora sale, like the past 3 holiday seasons at this point. So I was like, whatever, I'll bite the bullet and I'll buy the Makeup by Mario eyeshadow palette. The color story is absolutely beautiful. I mean, it looks like literally the same as the last 2 years. I think he swaps out like maybe 2 colors. Mario knows what he's doing. He's literally like, I'm gonna give you the same neutral palette, and then I'm gonna put in the 2 trendiest colors of the fall or holiday season of that year, which this year it has been olive green and burgundy. The color story is beautiful. The formula is worse. It's worse. It's worse. Is anybody gonna argue with me this time around? I really wanna know, because so many of my subscribers loved the palettes from previous years. It was a very divisive palette, let's just say that. The mattes in this palette, they're pretty much the same as the other 2 palettes from what I have seen. It's not my favorite formula. I don't think it is a luxury formula. I don't think it's luxe worthy. I know that Mario, he's more of like a mid-tier brand, but some of these mid-tier brands, guys, they're putting out some bangers. Like they're putting out some things where I'm like, whoa, is this like Chanel? Is this like Clé de Peau? But this is, in this case, it's not one of them. Every single brand at Sephora is coming out with these like all matte palettes, and you know, palettes that have predominantly neutral mattes, and I don't think that any of them are like super luxury quality. Maybe with the exception of the Hung Van Gogh palettes, those I think are really good. These mattes, they're just like very, it's not that they're not pigmented, they're just so dusty. Like you swatch them and they're pigmented, but they kind of blend into nothing. It's a little bit hard to control the color because so much comes off of the pan because they are just like finely milled, but almost too much so, if that makes sense. It's that kind of like talc-free formula that just like comes off in like chips almost. I really don't care for it, not for the price. Like I'm not paying for that. What really annoys me, however, with this palette are the shimmers, because the thing about the ethereal palettes is that they come with these like topper shades that give a beautiful ethereal look, almost like a wet type of look. Like, you know how when the sun hits the water and it just kind of like glimmers? It's supposed to be like that. Where are they, Mario? Where are the shimmers? Where are the shimmers? That was like the one thing this palette had going for it year after year. I didn't really like them because they irritated my eyes and I would wake up the next morning and like my eyes would be all red. But that was kind of like the selling point for the most part of these palettes. These shimmers, they're not creamy metallics. They're not topper shades. They're like this really weird, dry, dusty in between. There's not a lot of opacity to these shimmers. They just feel super dry. Super dry and very, very dusty. It kind of feels like maybe they were trying to improve their margins or something. They were trying to cut costs and I don't know, this is what happened. This is what we ended up with, guys, and it is not Luxe worthy. This is a huge Luxe letdown for me. The only good shade in the palette is the burgundy one. That one is like really nice and creamy. I don't know why he didn't make the rest of the palette that, so I'm including this in this video because year after year, there are so many of my subscribers that are tempted by these palettes because they're like really beautiful, neutral, everyday palettes. And I just want to remind you, they're really not that good. If you want to get something neutral and everyday, get the Hung Van Gogh, get like a Natasha Denona palette, get a Viseart palette. Honestly, Viseart, that would be my pick. That's what I would buy. I have a coupon code to Viseart as well. I'll link them down below. They have like a million neutral color stories at this point to choose from. I would just get a Viseart palette, guys. Ooh, okay, rant over. We're gonna get into a little bit of a different kind of rant now, a positive one, because I purchased the Danessa Myricks Lightwork 7 Freedom palette. If you're not familiar with these palettes, they are a different kind of luxury compared to like a Guerlain, for example. That's a little bit simpler. You know, you have your four pan palette, which I love. I love that type of luxury beauty. The Danessa Myricks style of beauty is definitely for more of the makeup lover, the luxury beauty lover that wants something that is insanely good quality, but very creative as well. And these lightwork palettes she's been doing every single year. I do have a couple of them in my collection, and I definitely think this is the best one that she has created to date. I think that this is my favorite thing that Danessa Myricks has ever made. I think she is an amazing makeup artist, but also a fantastic businesswoman because she takes things that are very like creative and makeup artisty and she makes them kind of a little bit more accessible to the everyday consumer. So with these palettes, you are getting all of these beautiful, molten, deliciously creamy and metallic shimmer shades. You've got some multi-chromes in there. You have some toppers in there. And she also put in some beautiful mattes in there as well, which apparently some people were annoyed about because they wanted more shimmers or whatever. I love the addition of the mattes because I can actually build a whole eyeshadow look with, you know, just the Danessa Myricks palette. I don't have to dip into anything else. And the matte formula is, chef's kiss. So much better than the Mario. Just gonna say that. The formula of these is beautiful. And aside from the formula, because I was expecting the formula to be good, the color stories that she chose this year, they're a bit more wearable than some of the ones that she's done in the past. Like she has neutrals and very classic colors, but in those color stories, you have some really incredible, insane finishes. If you like to be a little bit more creative with your makeup, I highly recommend checking this out. It is rather expensive. It's that luxury price point, but you get so many shades. The formula is amazing. And personally, I think that I create wearable looks with this palette. I use it all the time. I wear it out during the day, to events, to go to things, and I get a lot of compliments on my eyeshadow. You can create beautiful looks. I think it's one of those palettes where you don't need to use 4 or 5 shades. You can use like 2 and it looks amazing because it's like the coolest eyeshadow ever. I love this. It literally makes me smile. I didn't even buy this palette to review it on my channel. I just bought it because I was like, oh my gosh, I have to have that. And I absolutely love it. Next up, I want to talk about the new lippies from Violette France. And I'm gonna mess up this name, so I'm gonna read it here. It's the Plume Lip Moisturizing Feather Matte Lip Whip. It's not a lipstick, it's a lip whip. Whip it good. I was really interested in giving these a try because Violette France usually does a really good job with their lip products. I haven't tried a single lip product from them that I haven't liked. And I also really like their focus on the kind of undone, blurred, like slightly smudged French girl type of lip. Their whole thing is like that easy, sexy French girl makeup. So I picked up one of these lip whips in the shade Mon Chéri, and it is a beautiful cherry red. This is supposed to be kind of like a, well, I guess as the name would suggest, kind of like a whipped texture, and it gives you that blurred, cloud-like type of look. It's a liquid lipstick, but softer. You can really sheer these out, and you get this very like plush, blurred type of look to the lips. They're not drying, they are moisturizing. I'm not gonna say that they're as moisturizing as like the Guerlain lip oils, but they're not the type of liquid lipstick that dries down and is like transfer proof or whatever. These are more easy, they're more relaxed. I absolutely love this shade. I love the effect that they give. I think it's a really beautiful product. They also have like a really yummy sort of vanilla scent if you like vanilla scented lip products like me. The only thing, like I would put these in the luxe worthy category. The only thing is that the more that I thought about it, the more I was like, how different are these really though from the Bisou balms that they already have in their collection? I kind of feel like they're really similar. So if you already have the Bisou balms, once these go on the lips, like yes, the formula is different, the way they go on is different, but once they're on the lips, they kind of just look the same. They give that really beautiful, soft, blurred lip type of look. So I'm not quite sure how necessary these are. They're definitely appealing, and I'm really happy with the one that I got. I would even consider getting more, but I don't think they're that different. So if you find liquid lipsticks to be maybe a little bit too fussy to apply and you want something that is quicker, maybe you don't have as much control, but it's quicker, then I would just get the Bisou balms. I think that those are beautiful and they come in a lot of really, really gorgeous shades. Also, speaking of blurred makeup, which is totally a trend right now, I also got to try out the Glossier Cloud Paint Flush Blushes. I was so excited when I saw these pop up on the Sephora website because I love the Glossier Cloud Paint blushes. They're so good. I've been using them for years. So I was intrigued. My friends, because these also are one of those really popular, very trendy cream to powder formulas that a lot of brands have been doing lately. We've got the Chanel ones, we have the Rare Beauty ones, the Sweed Beauty ones I absolutely love, and now Glossier has come out with these flush blushes. If you are not familiar with this type of formula, it's not quite a cream and it's not quite a powder. You kind of get the best of both worlds. When you press onto the product, you'll find that it's actually like kind of squishy, and when you feel the formula, it is incredibly silky. So you can apply these, at least I do, with a powder brush with something fluffy. It will pick up the pigment. You can dust it onto the skin just like you would a powder, but it doesn't, like it looks creamier on the skin. It kind of melts into the skin a lot more than a powder typically would. You know how a lot of cream blushes, they sort of melt into the skin, whereas sometimes powder blushes, they kind of look like they sit on top of the skin, but they're very easy to manipulate like a powder, and they have a lot of longevity. Highly recommend you check out one of these formulas. I think that the Glossier ones, in addition to the Rare Beauty and the Sweed Beauty, I think they're all really good, more affordable options compared to the Chanel. The Chanel are beautiful, but they don't really have that many shades, and some of the lighter shades like the Beige Eclatant, that's a little bit too light for some people. They really need to launch more, and I think that these from Glossier, while the packaging is not as like fancy as maybe some other luxury brands, the formula itself is like just as good, I think, as the Chanel. Same with the Sweed Beauty. The Rare Beauty ones are quite pigmented, and I don't like the colors as much as the Glossier and the Sweed, but Overall, the formulas are all very, very similar. I wouldn't be surprised if they're like all formulated in the same lab. So up to you. I would put these in the luxe worthy category because while they have very simple packaging and the price point is lower, it feels like a luxury product to me. It feels like I'm using a Chanel cream to powder blush. If you're trying to decide between brands, I would mostly go with what color you want. And if you want something more pigmented, go with the Rare Beauty. Comment down below and let me know what have been your luxe favorites over the past couple of weeks. And if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give me a big thumbs up and subscribe, or better yet, go watch another video. Up next, I'm trying the world's most expensive makeup. I'll see you there.